If you have around $800 to spend and you want to buy a new gaming PC build that will be able to play any game that you want at 1440p with no issues and a very smooth level of gaming performance, then this is going to be the perfect video for you, because I will show you the best $800 gaming PC build, and I will also show you the level of performance that you can achieve at 1440p, 1080p and even 4K resolution. This gaming PC will be down below in the video description, as well with other PC alternatives that I will be talking about in this one. My name is Valentino, and with that being said, let's start. So first I'll start by talking about the specifications inside of the system, and we'll start with the CPU. This one is the i5-12400F, which in my opinion is the best budget / mid-range gaming CPU at the moment. It's going for $110, and I used to recommend the Ryzen 5 5600, which is basically the same as the i5-12400F in terms of gaming performance, because it used to be the cheaper option, but right now the 12400F is the cheaper option, and it's usually better than the Ryzen 5 5600 when it comes to 1440p and 4K resolution gaming, depending on the game and depending on the settings. Also, the CPU is quite important when it comes to esports shooters, so if you play Fortnite or Valorant, you can expect well over 240 plus FPS at 1080p competitive settings and also 1440p competitive settings depending on the esports shooter. Very nice level of performance in case you want a 240Hz 1440p or 1080p monitor. And then for the CPU, even though you can get away with the stock cooler from Intel because it's very power efficient and it doesn't require a ton of cooling, but I did go with an aftermarket CPU cooler just because it's cheap and it's going to give you a better aesthetic with that RGB fan, and on top of that you will be getting lower temps. So overall I believe that is a good purchase for just $18 at the moment. Then for the motherboard, I picked the ASRock B660M Pro RS. This one is a budget motherboard, nothing too crazy about it, but it's going to get the job done when it comes to gaming. For the memory kit, you get 32 gigs of DDR4 memory, and 32 gigs of RAM is going to be ideal if you want to do gaming, but also if you want to do streaming or content creation on the side. Having 32 gigs of RAM is going to be a very nice to have, so big thumbs up. Then in terms of storage, you get a 1TB Gen 4 SSD, which is going to be enough for gaming, but if you do want to download more titles, you can either buy 2TB right now or upgrade in the future. And that's why I said that having more than one M.2 slot is very nice, because down the line if you want to upgrade your SSD, you can just buy another one and plug it in. It is very easy to install, it's not that expensive, and that's what I recommend you doing if you do not want to spend anything over $800. Now let's talk about the graphics card, which is the most important component when it comes to your gaming performance. The CPU is very important as well, but it's not going to bottleneck your graphics card, which is the most important part of a CPU, not bottlenecking your graphics card when we are talking about gaming. The RX 6800 is the graphics card that I will be picking for you today. The reason why is because the RX 6800 is one of the best price to performance graphics cards in the entire market, because it's going for $350, which is a very nice price for this GPU. It has 16 gigs of VRAM, which is going to be plenty for 1440p resolution, and it will allow you to play any game that you want at 1440p with no issues. And for you to see some FPS averages, at Cyberpunk 2077, the RX 6800 was able to average 77 FPS, and we are talking about high quality settings. And then in another game, we have Modern Warfare 3, extreme quality settings at 1440p, and the RX 6800 was able to average over 100 FPS. And last but not least, on a 12 game average, in this type of games, the 6800 was able to average 84 FPS across all those games. Very strong level of 1440p performance. And if you were wondering, let's say you have a 1080p monitor right now, the 6800 at 1080p resolution in the same test was able to average 115 FPS. A very strong level of performance, and if you want to play at 4K, you can. And if you want to play higher demanding games, then I recommend you turning on FSR to achieve higher frame rates. For those who don't know, FSR, it's the upscaler from AMD and will help you out with the frame rates, especially at higher resolutions. However, if you want to play at 4K, very high demanding games on ultra settings, then I do recommend you spending more money and getting a faster system, which I will be talking about later on this video. Then for the case, we have the Fractal Design Pop Mini Air. This is a micro ATX case. In my opinion, it's one of the best price to performance cases out there in the market right now. And last but not least, we have a 600 watt power supply, which is going to be enough for this system because the RX 6800 is quite power efficient. It's only going to draw about 250 watts maximum, and the i5 12400F is also power efficient, so 600 watts is going to be enough. Now let's talk about pricing. Keep in mind that when you're watching this video, the pricing might be different because they change basically every single day. So if you want to check the latest pricing and availability to see if this system is in stock, I recommend you checking the links down below in the description. But anyway, by the time of filming, the price for this system is $800, and if you want a cheaper system that will allow you to play at 1440p as well and 1080p very high FPS, then I recommend you downgrading the GPU to the RX 6750 XT. The RX 6750 XT is slightly slower, about 15 to 20% slower compared to the RX 6800, but you have to keep in mind that you still average very high FPS at 1080p and also very decent frame rates at 1440p. The total average on that 1440p test that I've mentioned, well, it was able to reach 70 FPS on average, even though this graphics card wasn't on the list. The RX 6700 XT was, which is about 5% slower compared to the 6750 XT, and that one was able to average 67 FPS, and you will be able to average over 100 FPS when it comes to 1080p. If you make this downgrade, the total price will be around 740, so it's a nice discount and you will be getting an amazing 1440p performance regardless. And as I said before, if you want to play at 4K and you have more money to spend, then I recommend you checking my video on the best gaming PC builds of the month for every budget and every resolution. That one will be in the top right of the screen, and if you need my personal PC help, that's going to be the top link in the description. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on